This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back in to Cowboys OT. The Cowboys fall 27-21 to the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Let's go back out to Atlanta and hear from head coach Mike McCarthy.
David?
David Moore, News. You talked about that sequence to open the third quarter where you came out and there was the fake punt, and then they scored the touchdown, then you had the third and one, and one of those convert there. Just was that kind of put you in a bind there?
Well, I think it's a little bit of part of the story. I mean, we just had some self-inflicted wounds. I mean, we had, the fake punt was a matchup, John, that we felt strong about going into the game, so didn't convert that. But yeah, that's when it got to a two-score, above a two-score lead. So yeah, but we had plenty of opportunities after that.
Can you give us a quick update on Dak's health?
I don't have one. Sorry, I haven't checked. I haven't been in the training room yet.
Getting back to the penalties, so many pre-snap penalties, and then it seemed like there was miscommunication. It's really on defense on the 4th and 2. You called a timeout, and then was it a pick play, or how did you see that?
I didn't get a good look at it, but yeah, there's definitely contact down the field. So I think a lot of it is we had a number of guys on the same level. In that plus we called a wide bunch formation. So.
John Short with The Athletic. On Thursday, Dak talked about it being a must-win type game. What gives you confidence you guys can get this thing back on track?
Well, I mean, we just really got to keep the focus narrow, and I felt like we were doing that coming into this game. We needed to win a game. I mean, I know what everybody wants to talk about. Long term, we have 5 losses. So I clearly understand where that puts us. As far as what it will take, but we got to get to winning. We're making too many self-inflicted wounds, and the disappointing part about it is, some are repeated. The pre-snap penalties are totally unacceptable. We came in here. Wanted to go no huddle or up tempo, turbo on the ball type things. You see in the first series it was effective, and then I wish we'd have got more to it. But the only thing that really slowed us down was ourselves today.
Anybody else?
What ultimately led to Dak leaving the game? Just pain? You just don't know much more than that? Is that the deal?
Yeah, he has a hamstring that they're looking at. So.
And then testing tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
Testing tomorrow.
That's all I know right now. I have not spoken to the trainers about Dak Prescott.
Mike, can you talk about the decision with Ezekiel Elliott, and what are your plans as far as talking to him or whatever going forward tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean Zeke's situation was clearly a team discipline situation, and that's we'll pick up Monday and see where we are.
So an unusually short press conference. That was the entirety of Mike McCarthy at the podium. That might be the shortest press conference that I've ever seen from a head coach in Dallas. And a lot of times, even following a loss, there's frustration. You can sense it at the podium, and whether it's that's directed at the media or it's directed at his players or his coaches or execution, whatever it may be, you can sense it again here, and it's starting to grow even further. Even Jerry Jones saying that things are bleak is the word he used. We'll hear from Jerry later in the show as well. But, Barry, just based off of what Mike McCarthy's talking about there, where do you start with this Cowboys team?
It's tough. It's tough to, put your finger on where you start. I mean, when you have both sides of the football playing the way they are, defensively, offensively, it becomes frustrating. That's why we talked about it, in the pregame, that this was a must-win game coming out of Atlanta. Because, I've been a part of teams like this. Nate, I'm sure you have, Isaiah as well. When you start taking L's back to back to back, it gets extremely frustrating, and it starts to shatter that confidence that you have in yourself and your team as a whole. And guys start to get a little bit selfish here and there. So to me, as a team, they have to rally back around one another and see what they can do going forward. But you can sense the frustration coming out of Mike McCarthy during that interview.
He said it. They need to win a game.
Yeah.
But that's going to be hard. He said it again, self-inflicted wounds. You get out into the red zone. You were successful at the end of the game, but you get close to the red zone in the middle of the game when it was most competitive, a penalty pops up. Your left tackle is unstable. Your whole offensive line is not playing well. Your defensive line has not done anything tremendous. And Carl Lawson had a great day. Yeah. 2 sacks. That was overshadowed because you lost the game. So, but every time you have a positive, you take 2 steps back, whether it's self-inflicted or whether just because the team is better than you. I think Atlanta was just better than them today. You know, position, player for player, they was just better. The plays that he called, the reverse, I mean, if you go back and look at it, you'll just see where they missed blocking a man, you know, for the short yardage. The fake punt, that should have been called off. It's just so many things that they're doing to themselves it's hard to call.
Yeah, and it's frustrating for Coach McCarthy, and I kind of feel for him because as his job, obviously he's a head coach. He's responsible for this whole unit, right? This whole team, everything that shows up on the field. But from the offensive standpoint, that's his responsibility. And the way in which they show up and when he takes risks in terms of fly sweeps and, hey, it would have worked had everybody done their job, that's a good play call, right, in that regard when you draw it up on paper. When you go out there and guys are talking about the self-inflicted wounds, the missed blocks, right, the missed assignments. You talk about the holding calls, the false starts, the hands to the face, all these things that make you go backwards when you're already in the game in which the opponent is scoring touchdowns every other possession. Those are self-inflicting wounds. Missing tackles, right, not jumping on fumbles, self-inflicted wounds. All these things really kind of conjoin to create all kinds of frustration for our entire unit. And yeah, the head coach is going to display that. What can save this team right now? Yes, a win's going to save this team, but how do you get to a win when the next opponents that you have on your schedule are absolutely better than you? That's just pure facts. The teams that you have coming up next are better than you. The next 4 games, that is what it is. So what is going to give you the juice that you need? Well, you need to get some of your goons back. You need some energy buses back. You need D-Law back. You need Micah back. You need Deron Bland back. Guys that give you hope and being able to make plays on that side of the ball. And then offensively, you just got to figure it out. Right, you got to figure out B. Cooks is being missed dearly right now, and I don't think anybody really expected that outside of the people maybe in this room because we know how well he contributes to this team. Again, we want to remind you, B. Cooks was a 1,000-yard receiver every year until he got to Dallas. Now all of a sudden he came here in recent years, hasn't got the targets. This year, obviously, he's been injured. You're missing that number 2 guy outside of Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb that can contribute offensively, and you've seen it show up consistently every week.
And you mentioned getting some guys back. This could be a costly loss for Dallas as well because both Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb shaken up as we showed you in the highlight package earlier. When we come back, we're going to hear from Dak Prescott. Maybe he gives a bit of an injury update, where he is moving forward, and could we expect another former Cowboys All-Pro to miss some time? We'll talk about it right after this with more Cowboys OT.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Star in Frisco. Let's go back out to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Dak Prescott left the game midway through the third quarter due to a hamstring injury. Let's see if there's any update from QB1 himself.
Yeah, I mean, got to get it looked at. Felt it, I guess the third play that I was in there on the little scramble to the left. Felt it, didn't think much of it, to be honest with you. And then the next play, throwing that the stop route to the field, pulled something. I guess felt a pull or felt something I've never felt. Tough to walk on it at that point. Saw the medical team and asked, could I make it worse? At that point, they said I wouldn't be able to protect myself, and they made the call to hold me out.
How difficult was that? Just
very,
you guys are trying to rally.
very difficult. I guess that's, in my sense of just asking, can I make it worse if I can't? Like, know how much we needed this one. Yeah, I wanted to just get out there and compete, get out there and fight. Yeah, crazy.
So I'll say that. So initially, you heard it on the run, and then kind of, well, you felt it on the
I felt it when I was getting up from the run. I can't even say that, like, I felt it running, maybe the tackle, maybe something on the tackle. Yeah, I don't know, but when I was standing up from that, I felt something, but actually, I mean, didn't think it was much. You get tackled, it's a physical game. A lot of times you feel different things, and, you know, they kind of go away. And as I said, when I got to the top of my drop to throw that, to throw the ball to Jalen Brooks to the right side, yeah, I felt something I've never felt, and, yeah, it was tough to walk on it at that point.
What's the mood of the team right now?
One more time?
What's the mood of the team right now?
I mean, obviously frustrated. Obviously, I feel like I said that last week, disappointed. Felt like we could get this one. Felt like this was a great one set up for us. Yeah, and didn't get it done. For me to experience this, have this, add to the injury, CeeDee getting banged up a little bit during the game, tough.
Dak Prescott visibly frustrated, of course, now physically frustrated with the hamstring injury. We'll see what the expectation and possible extensiveness of the injury is once he does get it actually checked out. You can hear all of Dak's postgame press conference on DallasCowboys.com. Back with Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback. Isaiah, I'll start with you because from a quarterback standpoint, a lot of the wins and losses will fall squarely upon your shoulders, as it should a lot of the time. Good quarterbacks find ways to win, and not so good quarterbacks will have stretches like this where, of course, you're not playing very well. But it's not all on Dak Prescott, except for when the execution is on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, today Dak had a good game. I mean, people can say whatever they want to about the result of this game, but Dak, when you look at his stats, and it's not always about stats, this dude was 18 for 24, 75% completion. Okay, this dude had a touchdown. He had no turnovers, all right, and he was pressured all night long. Okay, he had 3 rushes for 30 yards. Everybody's been asking for him to cross the line of scrimmage, utilize his legs to extend drives. Well, he did that on 3 separate occasions. And there was a lot of other plays had he not utilized his athletic ability where he would have been on the ground. And I'm sure Big Nate Dogg, the offensive line specialist, can attest to that. This dude has been under duress a lot this year. And he has not been able to sit back comfortably regardless of the situation and be able to deliver the ball to the slim pickings of weapons that he actually has. So in terms of tonight, Dak did his job up until the point he was injured and unable to step on the field.
I just believe, body blows. From game one to now, it's finally caught up with him. Yes, he extended himself. Yes, he had to run the ball, but he was under duress the whole year long. This guy's to average maybe 8 to 9 extra hits a game, and it finally caught up with him to this game here. Dak, take care of yourself. Do what is necessary. We need you to carry us down the stretch.
No doubt about that, especially with the schedule that's coming up as well. It's not going to get any easier. Dak finished with 6 more rushing yards today than he had the entire 7 games prior combined. So a little bit different from Dak today. We're going to hear from his top target when we come back here on Cowboys OT. CeeDee Lamb also banged up in this loss. What did he have to say about the loss and his injury moving forward? Give credit to CeeDee Lamb. Despite a shoulder injury visibly holding him back late in the game, he fought it off, he toughed it out, and he finished the game on the offensive side of the football for the Cowboys. But what's the extensiveness of the injury, and where is it going to go from here from a Cowboys wide receiver standpoint? Here's number 88 after the game.
How's the arm and shoulder right now? Can you quantify it at this point?
It hurts. No need to shortchange it. But that's no excuse for my performance. Quite honestly, I feel like I could have played better overall, and I would be better.
How much did it limit you out there as the game went on?
I'm not going to put so much emphasis on it, quite honestly, as far as me catching the ball, because overall that's my job. But yeah, it definitely hurt, for sure.
Can you anticipate how it might affect you next week?
I'll be out there, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I'll be playing.
This team in general right now and where it stands, what's your level of confidence in this team as you fall to 3-5?
My confidence will never be lost. Quite honestly, I always have belief. I know the work that we put in, and obviously we came up short again. But see y'all again next week in the division game.
I know your confidence, you said, won't be lost, but how much is it being tested just with this 3 games?
Losing, obviously, is always a testament to your ability to believe in this team, believe in, quite honestly, anything that you feel like you can accomplish. And as for me, I'm out there to battle, man. I'm not out here to just go out there and play whatever kind of game as far as for anybody. You know, I'm going out there to play for my guys, play for my boys, and hopefully come out with a win. Obviously, these last 3 weeks we've come up short, but still got 9 more games left.
Cooper came in, and obviously his experience there. Just what do you make of just how he played and just the confidence in him moving forward?
I mean, we've seen what Coop can do when he's subbed in, and granted, he definitely dropped a couple nice balls on everybody as far as placement, timing, and overall us being available and him being available for us. So as for him, just building that confidence again, and see y'all again next week.
So the confidence level still there for CD, both from a player and team standpoint, but also from a health standpoint, which is good to hear. But you saw just how much it did bother him, and he said, yeah, it hurt. I mean, Isaiah, I know you've gone through a shoulder injury kind of like that. We don't know what it is exactly, but how much does that affect you from a range of motion and from what you're trying to do with the wide receiver position?
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I've had 3 subluxation surgeries on my left shoulder. I've had a AC joint sprain. So those are some of the common injuries that kind of come down. It doesn't look like he had the subluxation, meaning that his shoulder popped out. It doesn't look like that. But I'm pretty sure he has some bruising somewhere around there. He came down hard on that shoulder, and it does affect your range of motion. I mean, you can imagine the pain that he was dealing with. You know, you can't even run a route as a receiver in this league without somebody grabbing and pulling on your arm. So if there's any kind of irritation there, it's going to bother him. But as you know, he stood up there like a man and said, hey, regardless of how much pain I was dealing with, you know, if I step on this field, you guys expect a certain level from me, and I expect a certain level for myself in terms of productivity. So he's making no excuses. You can count on him being out there next week, and regardless of whoever the quarterback may be, he'll be ready to ball.
Yeah, I loved everything I saw from CeeDee Lamb today, from his play on the football field to that post-game interview. I mean, we've talked a lot about CeeDee Lamb through these years and the body language that he has on the football field sometimes and not getting along with this, that, and the third. But he showed out there today that he was a warrior. And those are the type of guys you want to go into a foxhole with when you talk about your team out there. All right, he went through the injury. You could tell he was hurting on each and every down out there, but he went through there and he played through it. I mean, that's showing your teammates that you have fight out there and that you have confidence and you're not giving up on this team. And as he said in that post-game interview, no matter who's playing that quarterback, I got confidence in this team to get through it, and I'm glad we were able to see that side of CeeDee Lamb today.
And that's the thing about CD. I mean, how many times have we sat up here and talked about how it hurts the team, the body language, the fact that he's had the different scuffles. I don't even really want to use scuffle as the word, but it's the only one I can think about on the sideline whenever there's frustration. Does this help you out a little bit in thinking, hey, maybe things are starting to turn in the mindset of CeeDee Lamb?
You mature based upon life experiences. And the reality is we've seen him grow up as a Dallas Cowboy. That's just reality. And sometimes you have hard lessons. Sometimes you got to have a little argument with your quarterback. Sometimes you got to, you get into it with a coach on the sideline, right? So all those things happen usually behind the scenes, but now in this new era where everything's recorded, he has to live that out publicly. So we, fortunately but unfortunately for him, been able to see him grow up through these things, and you become better from those experiences. So when he has an opportunity to step out the game and not go back in the game because of pain that is understandable, he made a decision that he knew was going to be advantageous for him and the importance and advantageous for his offense. So these guys now know, regardless of what I'm going through, there is no tapping out. There's no tapping out. We've seen that from some other teams this year. He said, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be fighting with you guys no matter how bad it is. I'm a warrior.
No, I do think that ultimately he showed at the end of that. He showed that there was a classy side to CeeDee and the way that he fought with his team all the way up until the very end. Now, when we come back, here's where things get serious. Jerry Jones did speak to the media following a road game. That hasn't happened in a long time. It never really happens throughout the course of a season. When we come back, we'll hear from Jerry Jones and his thoughts following the 27-21 loss. A lot of times, Jerry Jones will catch up with the media following a home game at AT&T Stadium. Not the case this week. He said he wanted to talk to the team and talk to reporters outside of Mercedes-Benz locker room. Let's hear from Jerry Jones following the 27-21 Cowboys loss.
All right, guys, I'll take questions here, obviously, but I'm just got to say this. We came in here thinking we could win that ball game. That's a team that we could beat. It's obvious mistakes, those kinds of things. Just any team in the NFL can do you in. This is not a good time. I really regret this for all of our Dallas Cowboy fans. I will tell you this, that I've been around. I've seen Michael Irvin tear up and cry when he couldn't lose anybody because he's just recovering from knee surgery. Yet his ass came back and led a team to 3 Super Bowls. I know you can be there if you're there. That room's full of guys that can get it done. I believe in them, coaches and all. Thank you.
Jerry, do you have any update on Dak and the severity of his injury?
No, the hand issue is not an issue. Told him that. We have no way of ascertaining how much that ham, it's a high one, but other than that, I don't know where it is.
What do you attribute to a lot of these pre-snap penalties and the discipline issues that you're seeing?
Well, I attribute the loss to that. That'll take the air out of you when it's too close for that in the NFL between the teams. It's just too close, and you can't do it, especially do it a lot. And I was proud of the way the guys competed out there. A lot of the guys really proud of them. Like the way that running back played the game tonight. Give him some love because he played hard and he played good.
Jerry, why is it just so emotional for you right now?
Excuse me?
Why are you so emotional about it?
Well, I would just say this. That room lives this tough. We live it. We all live it. And
So there you have it, Jerry Jones, and talking about not only the coaching staff, but the players, and a spirited message to the team in the locker room. I mean, you name it. You could sense the frustration building. He even used the word bleak at the moment whenever it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Barry, you've been around coaching changes before.
Oh, yeah.
In this building. This is eerily similar to a situation that you endured when Wade Phillips was kind of going on his way out of the door.
Yeah, it was basically the same, pretty much the same thing. When you look at it, you know, as my time as a player, it was never a great experience when, you know, the owner had to come down and give kind of a speech to the team after the game. You rarely seen that. And the only time I did see it was when Mr. Jones had came down my rookie season, 2010, to give the team, you know, a speech to let them know, you know, he wasn't happy with the situation and which way it was going. And after that, you know, the firing of Wade Phillips had happened. Now, we were in a much different situation than the Dallas Cowboys were in this year. You know, we were 1-7 coming off of one of the worst, you know, away defeats, you know, to the Green Bay Packers. I believe we lost 45-3 on a Monday Night Football. So, you know, it was a much different situation. But when the owner has to come down to your team and give a speech to the team about how unhappy he is with the way things are going, that's not a good sign, especially when he says we could have come in here and we could have beaten the Atlanta Falcons. And you saw the frustration in his face during those interviews. So it's never a great sign, but, you know, we'll see what comes of this, you know, next week.
I've been a part of that, but never Mr. Jones had it. He always had it with the head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in, bought the team, exited Coach Landry. In comes Jimmy. You know, they had a little discrepancy. He never talked to us about it, but exit Jimmy. Here comes Barry Switzer. But all of this was in building of winning. We kept winning. Exit Coach Switzer, in comes Coach Gailey. That's when it started falling. So I never got that speech from Mr. Jones. We always got it from the coach. I think we should always get it from the coach, because when the owner comes in, that means bad things are going to happen. Yeah. So I've never was part of that. Thank God. Hey, let's move on.
And, of course, that doesn't mean anything. There have been no decisions, no reports, no anything. And this is just based off of Barry and Nate's expertise as former players within this organization. So let me be very clear about that. It is an interesting scenario, the fact that he spoke to the media, spoke to the team, continued forward. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, Trayvon Diggs was back in the fold after being questionable going into the game. How did he feel his play conceded really in that 27-21 loss to Atlanta? According to a couple guys up on this panel earlier, the defense did their job at a certain extent. There were some blown coverages, though, throughout the game that didn't necessarily work in their favor. Kirk Cousins goes for 3 passing scores. Let's hear from Trayvon Diggs, who was questionable going into the week, was able to play today against Atlanta.
Trayvon, how do you describe the move in the locker room?
We're kind of disappointed in ourselves, you know. I feel like we could have went out there and, you know, won that game. As far as the numbers-wise, it was about even. You know, they just had a few more plays in us, but came a little short.
We know that Jerry talked to the team afterwards. What did you make of his message, and how do you think it could help?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to help a lot, you know, just seeing it from his eyes. And, you know, everybody wants to win, you know, so we just got to just tap in and just everybody come together and just, put some of these performances together and get some of these wins. We got an important game coming up this upcoming week, so we got to make sure we get it done.
How did your calf perform?
It was okay.
You made it through?
Yeah, I made it through.
Trayvon, you guys have had so much success here. When you have a 3-game losing streak, how hard is it just to keep the confidence going, and how important is it to keep the confidence going?
Yeah, it's important to keep the confidence. We got all the talent that we need on the team. We just got to, just lock in and just keep thinking positive, keep going about our work the right way, keep coming to practice and working hard, and just, hopefully, we gather some of these wins together. But, everybody wants to win, but tonight we came up short.
Offensively, when Kirk is, as efficient and moving the ball as well, how difficult is that to defend when he's spreading the ball like that?
He's very difficult. Veteran in the league, he's seeing all the looks. He's going to make all the checks. You can't get him a clean pocket. We got to make sure he moves his feet. If he has clean feet, he's going to be pretty efficient.
On the wheel route for the touchdown, did y'all have the communication right before? Was that why you couldn't get over the top?
Yeah, we was in cover 0. Wasn't on the same. Everybody was on the same plane. Pick route. It's an easy 0 beater. So next time, we'll make sure we get it done.
There you hear from Trayvon Diggs following the 27-21 loss. Here's a look at the defensive stats. And, of course, the Cowboys actually did their job in terms of run defense. There were just a couple communication lapses like Trayvon outlined there at the end. That was really the play that was in my head when I teased it to Trayvon of blown coverages. There was just a lack of communication, lack of adjustment. But that's been really the theme for the Cowboys defense is pre-snap motion and bunch formations have given them fits all year long. How do you fix something like that?
It all comes down to communication, in my opinion. You got the secondary and you got the guys in place that can get the job done. And what we've seen earlier or with this game is that they're playing better, especially against the rush defense like you talked about. They've held Bijan Robinson, who's a dynamic runner, to under 100 yards. So they're getting better in that regard. But they have to quit hurting themselves and they have to communicate out there. You heard Diggs talk about it. In 0 coverage, you got to understand where the offense is going to try to attack you, and you got to put yourself in a better position in order to at least make the play so they don't have to score a touchdown. So, in my opinion, this defense is getting better, but they've got to quit hurting themselves if they want to be able to help this team win and not be the reason that they're losing.
Yeah, that on top of the fact that they have to get themselves out of situations, right? So we talked about how they played better today. When we say better, we mean that they came into this game giving up an average of 462 yards per game to opponents and lost. That you just can't do that, right? So this game, they only allowed 310. That's improvement, right? We talk about not allowing a 100-yard rusher. That's improvement, right? Those are all positive things. But the thing that's not positive is every other possession, the Atlanta Falcons scored a touchdown. Not a field goal, a touchdown. So that's the one aspect you can't allow. You can't allow these guys to be 100% on 4th down. You can't allow for them to be 100% on goal to goal. You can't allow for them to be 100% in the red zone. Those are the aspects where they have to improve. Now, you're not going to expect every aspect of every stat line to improve in one game. They did take strides today, but there's still ways to go.
Very well put. I really like the way you outlined it. It's improvement, and there are things that you can take from this game and take it into next week against Philadelphia. But at the end of the day, you still got to find a way to get more stops. That's just plain and simple. Yeah. Whether it's run defense or it's through the air as well. Kirk Cousins diced up this Cowboys secondary. When we come back, though, I want to hear about the offensive line. Zach Martin talked to the media after the game as well. We'll hear from Zach right after this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Welcome back into Cowboys OT. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us following the 27-21 Cowboys loss to the Falcons. Let's go back out to Atlanta and hear from Cowboys offensive lineman Zach Martin.
Has there been a common thread with the struggles, you think, or has it been just something different every week?
I don't know. I mean, I got to watch the tape from this week and see what it is. And no, I mean, we just try to do a better job. I mean, that's as straight up as I can answer as I can give you. You know, that's our job to keep the quarterback clean. And you know, Dak was getting hit a lot tonight, and that's on us, right? That's something we can control up front, and we got to do a better job.
You've been in a situation where Dak went down, Cooper came in, and the team had success still. Can you rely on that? Can the team rely on the fact that Cooper's been there before and had success? Can that help a little bit if he's needed?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, if Ford can be out there, that's obviously best case scenario. But obviously, Cooper's been here a long time. We got a ton of confidence in Cooper, and you know, anytime he steps in there, you know, he doesn't miss a beat. He's takes command of the huddle. He's very intelligent out there. And we got all the confidence in the world if he's got to go.
Did you know Dak was in a bad way when he stayed in there after that pass?
No, I didn't. Not until just right before the next drive, they came up and told BB to get snaps with Cooper, but no, I didn't.
You're a veteran in this room. What do you tell your teammates in terms of trying to keep their head up in a tough situation?
Yeah, we just got to get back to work. We got to quit beating ourselves, right? I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Atlanta. They're a good football team, and you know, they did some good things against us tonight. But the stuff that we can control, yeah, all that, it just keeps popping up, and you know, we just can't have that. Our margin of error is too little to do those type of things.
You're 3-5.
So Zach Martin talking to the media post-game. We've got Nate Newton and Isaiah Stanback here. I want to talk – he talked a little bit there about Cooper Rush coming in. And if Dak Prescott's injury is indeed a little bit long-term, he's going to miss a couple of games, is the confidence still there in Cooper Rush that he can help you win games, but even going up against some of the competition that you have on the horizon?
You have to. You have to play. As an offensive line, we never concern ourselves with who the quarterback is. 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drops are all the same. We have to block them. We have to have continuity. We don't care who's back there. Even with the running plays, they may vary from guy to guy, the plays that they call, but our job is to block to a maximum performance at all times. So it don't matter whether Cooper Rush back there. We have to do our jobs.
Yeah, you just heard it from the big dog himself. And, yeah, it doesn't matter who's up there, but Cooper Rush is capable. That's the reason why he's been kept around for all these years. He's proven himself with this organization, with this team, that he's capable of leading this team to some victory. So I have faith in Cooper Rush that he can lead these guys and put them in a situation to be successful. Now, he's going to be faced with the same optimism, the same issues that Dak was faced with. He has to have protection, and he has to have weapons. If you don't have either of those things, I don't care who it is, unless you're Lamar Jackson, you're not going to be successful at that position. But in terms of what he was able to come in and do tonight, cold, off the bench, right, in that backup role. He almost had the same stat line as Dak. Now, obviously, his completion rate wasn't the same as Dak's, but in terms of attempts, he had 25, Dak had 24 attempts. In terms of yards, Dak had 133 yards, he had 115 yards. Oh, and by the way, there were 2 touchdowns that were dropped. Oh, and by the way, there was a couple other drops that were in there as well. He's going to have if Dak cannot go, he's going to have a whole week of working with the ones, and he will be better than what he was tonight, and he'll be what you've expected to see from him in the past.
Of course, from an optimism standpoint, you do not want Dak Prescott on the sideline, especially with already losing a couple of your big-time pieces on offense and defense. But if you do have Cooper Rush back in the fold, that is at least a safety net you feel comfortable with against some of the tougher competition you've got facing this season. When we come back here on Cowboys OT, we wrap things up. We look ahead to Philadelphia, first meeting with the Eagles coming up this week as they come to AT&T Stadium in Week 10.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.
cornerstone of what you need to do from a football standpoint. But think of yourself as the underdog now. You're not the 12-5 team anymore. Over the last 3 years in the regular season, you have 5 losses right now. You got to be better than that, and maybe look at yourself as an underdog going into this week against Philadelphia. For Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from Cowboys OT. We'll see you next week.